Grading the latest Browns mock draft, Cleveland continues to improve its roster following free agent additions. The Cleveland Browns have worked through 4 days of free agency, and they've made several moves this week. Cleveland's moves have come mostly on the offensive side of the ball. Cleveland has signed G. Zion Johnson and C. Elgton Jenkins to be starters up front. The Browns re-signed G. Tevin Jenkins, and he could potentially be a starter depending on how things shake out. Having already traded for OT Titus Howard, the Browns' offensive line is coming together with a nearly complete overhaul. The Browns could go to the draft and finish the starting lineup up front. 3-round Browns mock draft following 4 days of free agency moves. The latest 3-round mock draft here at A to Z Sports can be read here. Below are the Browns' 4 selections through the first 3 rounds. Round 1, pick 6, Spencer Fano, OT, Utah. Round 1, pick 24, Casey Concepcion, WR, Texas A&M. Round 2, pick 39, D'Angelo Pons, CB, Indiana. Round 3, pick 70, Dennis Sutton, Edge. Penn State. Grading the latest Browns mock draft, the Browns very well have 4 or 5 starters figured out on the offensive line, with the only hole remaining at left tackle. Taking Fano means you believe he's flipping to the left side, which he's never done in college. The other option would be for the Browns to flip Howard to the left side, but the latter doesn't seem ideal either. Taking Concepcion with a second first-round pick makes a lot of sense. The Browns need more juice on the offensive side of the ball, and the Texas A&M product is a problem with the ball in his hands. Jerry Jeudy and tight end Harold Fannin Jr. can be good weapons with the offense, but the Browns need much more than those two to become more explosive. Concepcion with the late first or early second should be on the table. The Browns have their 2 outside cornerbacks, and adding a player like Pons into the nickel could be dangerous for an already very good Browns defense. Pons might be able to place him outside in a pinch with his vertical despite height deficiencies. I believe the first 2 picks have to go on the offensive side, and then taking a defensive player with the second-round pick can be on the table. Taking Dennis Sutton in the 3rd would be going the best player available route. Cleveland has a nice rotational duo opposite Myles Garrett with Isaiah McGuire and Alex Wright. McGuire will be a free agent after the season, and Dennis Sutton could figure into the future of the pass rush. Back-to-back 8.5 sack seasons were impressive by the former Penn State star. All in all, I think the Browns did pretty well past the first pick if this were how things shook out. If Fano ends up a guard and can't play left tackle, then the Browns would have reached quite a bit. Grading the latest Browns mock draft, Cleveland continues to improve its roster following free agent additions. Every NFL offseason tells a story, and for the Cleveland Browns, the 2026 offseason narrative is one of calculated improvement. After addressing several immediate needs through free agency, the Browns entered the mock draft season with a flexible strategy: build depth, strengthen key positions, and prepare for long-term success. The latest mock draft projections suggest Cleveland is continuing that mission, blending value picks with positional upgrades. But how well does this projected draft actually help the team? Let's break it down. A foundation built in free agency before the draft even begins, Cleveland has already taken important steps to reinforce its roster. In recent years, the Browns have relied on a balanced approach, combining veteran signings with smart drafting. This offseason followed the same blueprint. By addressing certain roster gaps through free agency, Cleveland has given itself the freedom to draft the best talent available rather than drafting purely out of desperation. This approach reflects the vision of General Manager Andrew Berry, who has emphasized roster sustainability and long-term competitiveness. With several positions stabilized through veteran acquisitions, the Browns can now target players who add depth, versatility, and upside. Round 1. Strengthening the defensive identity. Most mock drafts project Cleveland using its first-round pick to bolster the defensive front or secondary. Given the team's identity under defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, this would make sense. Schwartz's system thrives on relentless pressure and physical coverage. Adding a young pass rusher or disruptive defensive lineman would complement stars like Myles Garrett. Garrett remains one of the most dominant defenders in the league, but consistent help across the line ensures offenses cannot simply double-team him every play. Grade: A first-round defensive pick would maintain Cleveland's defensive dominance while preparing for future roster turnover. Round 2. offensive line depth. Even elite teams struggle when offensive line injuries strike. Cleveland understands this reality well. The Browns have historically built their offense around strong trench play, protecting quarterback Deshaun Watson while opening lanes for the running game. Selecting an offensive lineman in the second round would provide valuable insurance and long-term stability. Young linemen often require development time, so drafting one now ensures Cleveland remains strong up front for years. Grade B+. While not flashy, strengthening the offensive line is a smart investment that supports the team's offensive philosophy. Round 3 to 4. Skill position value. Middle rounds often determine whether a draft class becomes memorable or forgettable. In many mock scenarios, Cleveland targets skill positions such as wide receiver or running back. Here, a young receiver could add explosiveness to the offense, especially alongside playmakers like Amari Cooper. Speed and route running ability would give Watson another weapon and help stretch opposing defenses. Running back depth could be valuable depending on health and contract situations. A versatile back who can catch passes and contribute on special teams would fit well in Cleveland's system. Grade B. These rounds focus on versatility and upside rather than immediate star power. Late rounds. Developmental depth. Late round picks rarely make headlines, but they often shape a team's depth chart. Cleveland's front office has historically used these selections to find hidden gems, players with strong athletic traits who can develop over time. Possible targets include linebackers, defensive backs, or special teams contributors. Under the right coaching environment, these players can eventually become reliable rotational pieces. Grade B. Late round selections are about long-term value, and Cleveland appears to be maintaining a disciplined approach. Overall mock draft grade. Final grade B+. The latest Browns mock draft reflects a team that understands its strengths and weaknesses. Rather than chasing flashy picks, Cleveland appears focused on reinforcing its foundation: defense, offensive line, and roster depth. This strategy aligns with the Browns' broader organizational philosophy: build a deep, balanced roster capable of surviving injuries and competing deep into the postseason. Why this draft strategy works? There are three major reasons why Cleveland's projected draft strategy makes sense. Defensive continuity. Investing in defense keeps the team aligned with Schwartz's aggressive scheme. Offensive protection. Reinforcing the offensive line helps maximize Watson's performance.